We're going to turn our attention now to Iran. And after the comments by the US President Barack Obama that he was, appalled and outraged by the violence he'd seen, we've heard today from President Ahmadinejad, who says Mr. Obama made a mistake to say those things. Our question is why he fell into this trap, the same as Mr. Bush.
Interesting line,
Kamal.
isn't it?
That's what we're hearing officially.
Exactly.
But there's an awful lot of stuff that's coming out in dribs and drabs unofficially.
There is, and this is the thing. How do you disseminate between the two and go between the official lines and the tweets and the blogs and all these things? This is what we're talking about really here today. We want to focus really on how international media, not just us, are covering this story and the difficulties we're all having getting this information out. Also, one of the big players in the online game, we've got an interview, this is quite good really, an interview with the head of news and politics of YouTube.com about its sister site, CitizenTube. But we'll also show you how to bypass the web completely and send your pictures and video directly to us at Al Jazeera. First, though, the international media coverage. And as we well know in this newsroom, it is fraught, but it is also quite pioneering what we're seeing. Hamish MacDonald in London has been visiting some other broadcasters for their take.
1, mix to 4, coming to 2, in 2, 1, mix 2.
سلام با شما هستیم در یک برنامه خبری دیگر. آیت الله علی
Broadcasting from Britain into Iran, this is the BBC's Persian service. Balanced coverage, they say, of the world's biggest news story. Tehran, though, believes this government-funded operation is propaganda.
It is not a propaganda arm of British government or anywhere else. We have been trying to make sure that we get both sides of the story as well, although one side is not talking to us, but we try to give their point of view and their side of the story through Iranian sources.
These journalists cover world news, although one story dominates their headlines right now. And like many broadcasters, they have little or no access inside Iran. So, how do you report a story you can't reach?
We are relying on user-generated content, which is mostly sent by the people who think their views are not voiced in the official media inside Iran, so that they are more likely to be against the government.
Because they're not allowed inside Iran, BBC Persian was well placed to cover this story using unconventional methods.
Hello and thanks for joining us here on France 24.
Welcome back. You're watching RT Live from Moscow.
Hello again. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has...
Many news organizations have found themselves incredibly reliant upon the protesters in Tehran. It's the citizens here, not the journalists, providing the content.
There has been a fantastic amount of twittering, email and video that's come out, but that in itself poses a real challenge for those media organisations. Can they trust it? What exactly are they looking at? Who exactly is speaking? How do they interpret that, if you like, for their audiences?
User-generated content became even more important when many foreign journalists were forced to leave Iran when extensions on their election period visas were refused. British journalist Lindsay Hilsum is among those continuing to report the story remotely.
One of the results of the Iranian government stopping us from reporting is that we are now reliant on these sources which are biased towards the middle class, the educated and the opposition. The majority of information coming out is from them. And so the Iranian government, in that sense, it's an own goal. They have prevented us from talking to the people who might give a different picture.
It's hard to say if the picture we're seeing of Iran is accurate, but the alliance of the internet and aggrieved voters is proving powerful. Hamish MacDonald, Al Jazeera, London.
So you see it there, the importance of internet and user-generated content. We've been saying it all week. Other broadcasters are clearly saying it as well. The king of them all, undisputably, is YouTube. But have you heard of this site, CitizenTube? It is a spin-off, if you like, of YouTube. It's more of a blog or a news feed as opposed to the original YouTube site. It's really come to its own with Iran, and we had the chance to talk about CitizenTube with the head of news and politics at YouTube.com. It's Steve Grove.
Well, CitizenTube is just sort of like a breaking news hub for us where we can aggregate all the latest footage that's coming out of Iran in one place and drive users there and find it directly. The footage is coming in from all over the place, so it helps to have one central location where you can see it, and then you can compare and contrast the videos together and develop some context for just what's coming out of the streets of Tehran.
And what's the traffic been like since the end of the Iranian elections?
Well, all reports are showing that YouTube has actually been shut off in Iran. However, a lot of savvy users find ways to still get onto the site. And so there's about 10% of our usual traffic taking place in Iran. But several people there are being really scrappy. They're finding internet proxies to make sure their videos get onto the site. They're sending video footage to friends abroad who are uploading it from their computers. Really, it's a testament, I think, to how important people in Iran think this story is and how they're really willing to risk their lives to make sure the rest of the world can still tell what's happening in Tehran, despite the fact that foreign media have been kicked out, rendering mainstream media coverage almost completely black.
But I wonder about legality issues, particularly for you, for citizenship, for YouTube, for Google, for however when you look at it. When I look at YouTube's community guidelines, it says, or it warns against posting footage of people being injured or attacked or perhaps worse. And yet that's exactly what is happening here. Is it not under the same laws as YouTube, the same guidelines?
Well, also in our community guidelines, we have our policies around footage that we feel has scientific documentary value. So footage that we think within the context of the coverage we're seeing merits staying up on the site. Now, we do warn users that you should take caution before watching it, and on several of the clips that are particularly violent, we have an age verification system before you can watch the clip. But really, this is the only way that people within Iran are having a chance to have their message heard, and so YouTube, as a platform for free expression, wants to ensure that we allow those people to communicate within the context of this story.
Plenty of context on the story at our website at aljazeera.net/English, and we want you to add to it by sending in your pictures and content as well if you're in Tehran. There's our main page at aljazeera.net/English. As I said, you scroll down, right-hand side, Your Media Iran 09. It takes you through to this page where you can submit all your own content. Please, though, if you do that, give us some sort of context, as Steve was saying there, your name, where you shot the video, when it was shot, so we can give our viewers all that information as well. We're back in the hour of news at 1300 GMT with plenty more from the Iran desk. We'll see you then.